and on the KUTV app. This is KUTV 2 News at 10.
Welcome, everybody. Exactly 9 months ago today, two 3-year-old boys were killed when a parolee with a documented history of meth addiction slammed through a horse stable and hit them.
There's still days that we wake up and look for him, because that's what our life was him.
Tonight, 2 News investigates uncovered failures in his supervision that could have potentially prevented this wreck.
Chief Investigative Reporter Wendy Halloran joining us now with the story every parent should see. Wendy.
Well, Mark and Heidi, this is a document the Department of Corrections doesn't want you to see. They don't want you to know that the parolee charged with killing those 2 little boys tested positive for drugs 3 weeks before the crash. He then stopped going to drug treatment completely. All the while, AP&P claims it had no clue.
Odin's birthday is coming up in 2 months, and we don't really know what to do. He would be 4.
He's so grumpy.
He had so much love and kindness and so many things to offer this world that were robbed of him.
The Ratliff family and the Jackson family.
Hunter, are you having fun?
Yeah.
What you doing?
Forever changed by the events on May 2nd of last year. A car speeding down 2300 North and 16,000 West in Eagle Mountain smashed through several fences and horse corrals at Cedar Valley Stables, instantly killing Odin Ratliff and Hunter Jackson. Prosecutors say Kent Cody Barlow was behind the wheel of that car. On parole at the time, adult probation and parole was responsible for supervising him. But entries in Offender Track, AP&P's primary database we obtained from a whistleblower, show Barlow violated the terms of his parole multiple times before this deadly crash. April 2nd, 2022, Barlow did not show up for a random drug test at Wasatch Behavioral Health. April 11th, 2022, Barlow showed up for drug testing at Wasatch and was positive for amphetamines and methamphetamine. April 25th, Barlow showed up for an office visit. The AP&P agent wrote he is doing his treatment and drug testing. But as you're about to see, that couldn't be farther from the truth. The deadly wreck happened 1 week after that office visit. The day after the crash, his AP&P agent created a new entry in Offender Track. He wrote, quote, I reached out to his case manager at Wasatch Behavioral Health. In talking with his case manager, I learned Mr. Barlow failed to report for a random drug test on April 2nd. He then reported for a random drug test on April 11th. The results of this drug test showed Mr. Barlow positive for amphetamines and methamphetamine. The entry then says his case manager made multiple attempts to reach Mr. Barlow to discuss this positive UA to no avail. Mr. Barlow failed to make any further contact with treatment and discuss this positive test. The entry then says Wasatch Behavioral Health did not notify me of this positive UA until I reached out to them today, May 3rd, 2022. I reached out to the executive director of Wasatch Behavioral Health. In an email, Dr. Jurgen Korbanka wrote, Wasatch Behavioral Health has no formal agreements, contracts, or obligations to report treatment compliance to other agencies. That means Barlow tested positive for amphetamines and meth and for 21 days wasn't going to drug treatment. Adult probation and parole claims it had no clue and didn't check to find out.
This is an outrageous situation where the left hand doesn't know what the right hand is doing.
Paul Cassell is a professor of criminal law at the University of Utah and a former federal judge.
It's absurd that the people doing the drug testing wouldn't be contractually obligated to immediately report when they see positive drug testing.
Does it appear from what you've seen that he was properly supervised?
This looks like a complete failure of supervision here.
For Teresa Ratliff, it's unfathomable.
The end result is I held my son dead in my arms, and no parent should ever have to go through that. No one. And if there are people who are accountable, they should be held accountable.
You know, I reached out multiple times to Adult Probation and Parole and the Department of Corrections. They sent me a statement regarding contracts with treatment providers. Quote, generally, UDC does not maintain contractual agreements with specific treatment providers for services. It goes on to say, if an individual is on parole, they request that the parolee sign a release of information so that the provider can share information with AP&P. Providers typically provide monthly treatment reports to AP&P. Mark and Heidi.
Wendy, thank you. The story does not end there. Tomorrow night at 10, you don't want to miss part 2 of this report.
Wendy takes what happened straight to the top.
I'm trying to get an interview with you. I know you have to go, but
Tomorrow night at 10 o'clock, what happened when we tried to ask Governor Cox about this situation and what lawmakers on the Hill are saying about this problem.
Breaking in just the last couple of hours tonight, Salt Lake police arrest 2 people after a deadly shooting.
We want to go to Jamie McGriff on the live desk with the very latest there. Jamie.
Well, Heidi and Mark, we first brought you this story as breaking news last night at 10. 23-year-old Oliver Spencer Avila Jimenez is charged with murder, and 30-year-old Julio Steven Cardona faces charges relating to the gun used in the crime. Police believe a fight led up to the shooting last night at 1665 South Riverside Drive. 35-year-old Guthrie Sarawap, the victim, died after he was taken to the hospital.
And tonight's crisis in the classroom, a mom posted it. 2 News began asking questions about it.
And tonight, a state agency has taken down an educator training video on how to teach gender identity in the classroom. Brian Mullahy live on the story you'll see only here on 2 News. So, Brian, what's in the video?
Well, among other things, this video webinar, which has been optional to educators over the last couple of years, encourages teachers to wholeheartedly invite students to explore their gender and to have, quote, gender play in classrooms. The instruction taken down after we began asking questions about it. The webinar, paid for by COVID funds, was produced by the state to instruct teachers.
When I was working directly in schools as a teacher.
A presenter in the upper right is Dr. Yoel Arvizo Zavala.
That's actually where I learned how important it was to model gender play and to do these things with students, especially young children.
Why did you post this?
Well, I thought that the public should know.
Mom substitute teacher Lisa Logan put clips on her Twitter feed, including this webinar image showing a man handing a dress to what appears to be a boy. What's your reaction to the video being taken down?
Well, it begs the question, if what they were teaching these educators was proper and right and good, then why would it have to be taken down?
Tonight, the Utah Division of Multicultural Affairs, which made the video, confirms it's offline. Nubia Pena, division director, told me, we want to do an internal review, adding, we hired these individuals as subject matter experts. She said, we love our LGBTQ youth and value parents.
Take that courageous step.
But the video gets a new look and listen.
Ask somebody, right? What or how they identify.
Why not confront it in an educational setting?
Well, because I believe that fundamentally and squarely belongs with the parents.
Logan believes teachers have no business asking young children about their gender identity. The leader of the Utah American Federation of Teachers told me tonight he has not seen the video, but that the union does advise teachers before any instruction, make sure it complies with state and school district guidelines. Live in Salt Lake, Brian Mullahy, KUTV 2 News.
Brian, thank you. And as always, if you have a tip to share with our education team or an issue you want looked into, all you have to do is call the number on your screen, or you can email us at education@kutv.com. Chilly tonight again, but not as chilly as some of the other nights.
That's right, slightly warming up. But Sterling missed the cold and just went up in the mountains tonight to see if he still liked it.
Yeah, it was 8 degrees at Rockport Reservoir, 21 in Ogden right now, 25 in Salt Lake, 23 in Provo, and we'll see that air quality unhealthy tomorrow. Saturday unhealthy for sensitive groups. It might improve just a little bit, but you can see most of the Wasatch, all of the Wasatch Front, and even eastern Utah, Duchesne is under unhealthy for sensitive groups right now, and Cache Valley is in the red. So 34 in Moab, 43 in Hanksville. These were high temperatures today, 37 in Salt Lake City. We may gain a degree or two tomorrow, but I'll tell you what the highs for tomorrow are and what we've got going for the weekend. That's just ahead.
New at 10 tonight, Utah Senator Mike Lee now giving the Prime Minister of Japan an ultimatum.
Jamie McGriff's on the live desk with those efforts to bring a Utah man back home again. Jamie.
Okay, Senator Mike Lee voicing how serious he is about bringing Navy Lieutenant Ridge Alconis home. As we have reported, Lieutenant Alconis is serving a 3-year prison sentence in Japan. In May of 2021, he blacked out while driving, hitting and killing 2 people. His family and the military maintain he suffered altitude sickness. Mike Lee is tweeting directly at the Japanese Prime Minister now, saying in part, "My approach to all of this is about change. And make no mistake, it will change if Lieutenant Alconis isn't back on U.S. soil by 11:59 p.m. EST on February 28, 2023. Heidi had an exclusive interview with Lee last week where he opened up about the fight to get Alconis home, and you can find that on our website, KUTV.com.
Also new tonight, a push to help more students in the state who might be going hungry and homeless. Teen resource centers have started to pop up in schools all across Utah and offer showers, washing machines, and a lot more.
This is working. Graduation rates increase, academic success rates increase. It really does work. So then I think also we are an incredible example to other states of what we can do and what actually can help these kids.
Now the Policy Project and other groups are looking for $25 million from the state legislature to put more of these resource centers in Utah schools.
New details tonight out of Washington County. An alleged human trafficker behind bars and a young girl saved after a trooper made a regular traffic stop. According to UHP, the trooper found marijuana inside this car but became more suspicious when the young girl inside gave him a false name and a birth date. Police found her on a national database listed as a missing child out of Massachusetts. Police records show the 34-year-old Tavon Gerald Colors Tillman picked up this young girl from Denver after he bought her a bus ticket from Massachusetts.
Tonight, Salt Lake police still searching for a suspect who stabbed another man to death. Officers were called to Palmer Court just before 4 o'clock this afternoon. They found a man critically injured. He later died at the hospital. Police say right now they believe the suspect ran away and that this was not a random incident.
Here's a question. Are we being spied on? The Pentagon says yes. Ahead, the balloon they say is lurking over the U.S. from China.
And the DEA is seeing a resurgence of a very old but very deadly drug. We'll show you what it is and why it's making a comeback.